A lot of people want to get logos done for their shirts and their hats for their business. And there is a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. And I'm going to tell you the right way you should have it done, because even though you're not a digitizer and you have a business and you want your hats and shirts done, you need to know how the digitizing process works a little bit. You don't have to be an expert at it, but you want to know how the process works so that when you take your hats and shirts to someone saying, I want it done this way, the right way. It's just like with copywriting. If you don't know anything about copywriting, how are you going to get a copywriter to write for your business? Or, right? It's the same thing. So I'm going to show you on here what you are looking for when you hire a digitizer, or if you take your stuff into a local embroidery shop and they say, yeah, we can digitize that. And then you're going to say, well, exactly how do you do your digitizing? And if they say, well, we just put it into a program and we click a button. Well, there is buttons that you can have in these different software programs. I'm using Palette 11, for example. Palette 11 has a button you click, and it will automatically digitize it based on whatever graphic you put in there. That's the wrong way, because what will happen is, let's take a look at this hat I did. Now, this is not a logo, but it's a hat, and it's well done, and it's done a certain way. But let's just say the machine starts sewing here, then all of a sudden it jumps over to here and starts sewing out 8, and then it jumps back over here with another thread jump, and it's doing heavy stitching and patterns that you don't need. And that's what it'll do. What the automatic software will do is it will just indiscriminately throw whatever you want in there. Now, the digitizer could possibly go in there and make some changes, but there's a far better way for them to do this. And it's very simple. I'm going to show you. Now, I have designed this a certain way. The only thing that's wrong with this particular design is I threw this fancy schmancy set of lines up here last. I threw them on there last instead of doing it as part of this. So all I did initially was this section here. I didn't even have this the clip art on here to digitize it so I could see what I was doing. So this wasn't there, and I just went in from one end to the next. Now, there is one cut on here, and I could have eliminated that if I had this design on here first, but I didn't plan on doing it until the last minute. I said, it looks a little empty, so I want to add something, and I did. So I'll show you what I mean here, okay? So this will simulate the sew out. I'm going to show you how this thing will sew out. And it flows from here all the way through here. There's no cut. It just jumps because the line is so minimal. It jumps from the 8 to the 5. It jumps from the 5 to the 9. You can't see it. It's almost invisible. And then it jumps to the horse's tail, sews through here evenly. One solid, there's no cuts, there's no thread jumps, and each one of these little things I did in here are 1 millimeter apart. I did them myself by hand because I wanted it to flow nice and easy. Because when a machine starts to sew this out like you see on here, having it 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters apart, evenly spaced, will make it easier for the machine. And the machine won't have to work so hard, which is good for the company that's doing it. Another thing I want to point out is this has been done with the minimum amount of thread stitches. See how it's going right straight through the whole thing, nonstop. The thread doesn't; it just connects everything together and smooth. Now this is the only place where it jumped, right there. And that's because I didn't have that up there to begin with. If I'd had it on there to begin with, what I would have done is I would have had it sew through here, jump over to the 5, have the 5 jump up into here, go this way, then go this way, come back around, jump back down, and then go over to the 9. But I didn't do it that way because I didn't have this up there to begin with. It just wasn't a part of my design. That's why you got it. Now, that's one of the reasons why you want to hire a guy that understands graphics. The reason you would want to have a good graphics design guy do this for you is he would have the graphic already done up, possibly on paper even, and he would have gone through here and planned where to go, how to do it, jump down to there, There are no jumps, by the way. I keep saying jump, but it's just a single piece of thread going through there, but it's so small, it's invisible, right? So he would have planned this all out in advance. Now, I could have redone this whole thing and done it right, but it was no big deal to me. Another reason it's great is if you look down here at the very bottom of the screen, well, you can't see it, but there's 3,021 stitches in this whole design, and it came out looking really good. And I will go to the realistic view. You can see what it looks like when it gets put onto the hat. The only parts that I don't have a lot of control over, well, I do have some because I could tell it how dense to make this. This is a satin stitch. So it goes around, it does it in a satin stitch, and I can make the thickness or the thinness, the best way I could tell you this, so it won't pull on the what they call pull compensation, so it won't pull on the material of the jacket too much. You want to have it all scrunched up. So I do make this lighter through here, and I have a way to adjust that. But this is the way you want your digitizing to go. You want it to start at one spot, flow through easily through the whole thing. And like I say, these little threads here, those could have been cut. I got an OK machine, cut it, and start again, cut again. But it just flows nonstop through this whole process. And that's good for the embroidering company who's going to actually embroider it on their machine, because it costs less money for that sort of thing, right? It costs less money when you have less stitches. It costs less money when you have less colors. So you have to plan your logo out, make it good and clean. And once you get all that in place, you're able to save money on each and every garment that you do, and it should sew out beautifully for the company that does it. Also, too, I would like to say that you might want to pay more to actually get the file from the company. Don't let them retain it. Say, I want to pay you for the digitizing, but I want the file also. That way, if something goes wrong, you could always take it to somebody else and get it sewn out, or not if something goes wrong, or maybe you find somebody to do it cheaper for you. You can take the file and give it to them, and they will do it for you because you already have the file. All righty. God bless and have a great day, and I hope you learned something from this.